in this hurried life, how often have you paused, fallen silent, and asked yourself, where am I truly heading? Amidst all gains and losses, joys and sorrows, there's a quiet voice that has always called out from deep within, the call of awakening. Silent Bodhi channel humbly wishes to be your companion on this journey back to yourself, where every step sows the seeds of peace and serenity. If the reflections shared here bring you even a moment of calm amidst life's turbulence, please subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell. Together, let's continue exploring the wondrous beauty of mindfulness. Everything happens for a reason, the profound meaning of life. In the endless flow of life, nothing happens by chance. The joys we've experienced, the pains we've endured, the encounters, the separations, all carry within them a message, a lesson, a necessary piece of the puzzle on the journey of our soul's growth. There are times when we don't understand why we have to face great storms. There are moments when our hearts ache from losses that seem senseless. But then, when we take a step back and reflect, we see it is these very moments that shape us, make us stronger, deeper, and more capable of love. No tear is shed in vain. No wound is without purpose. Life, in its own unique way, arranges everything to lead us back to our purest, stillest self, filled with light from within. Everything happens for a reason, whether it's a challenge or a miracle, whether it's a beginning or an end. All of it is a quiet hand guiding us towards a better version of ourselves. Trust, open your heart, walk with the belief that every day, every moment is an irreplaceable part of the wonderful journey the universe has laid out for you. The law of impermanence, anicca. Life is constantly changing. This life, with all that we see, hear, and feel, is not a fixed thing. Everything, whether joy or sorrow, holds within a profound and sacred law, impermanence. Nothing in this world lasts forever. From the happiest moments to the deepest sorrows, all are like waves. They come and go, changing with each passing second. Anicca, this law of impermanence, is not an easy truth to accept. When we cling tightly to what we cherish, to moments we wish could last forever, we experience pain as everything shifts. But the beauty of life lies in that very change. Every change, whether it brings suffering or joy, offers us a chance to grow, to realize that everything in life has its reason. A falling leaf in autumn is not an end, but the beginning of a new cycle. Similarly, our lives are in constant change, constantly transforming. The challenges of the day will become memories in the future, and true peace in the future can only arise from our ability to embrace the impermanence of life today. So, instead of fearing change, we can learn to let go. Letting go does not mean giving up, but learning to live in the present, cherishing what we have, knowing that it will not last forever. Yet, in that very change, new and beautiful things will come. Let everything flow naturally so that we can grow and embrace the new gifts life offers. The law of karma, you reap what you sow. Karma is one of the great principles of Buddhism, understood as a law of cause and effect. Every action, word, and thought carries with a consequence of its own. Karma is not about punishment or divine reward, but a natural law, an inevitable process of the universe. Each one of us, in every moment, is planting seeds with our actions, thoughts, and words, and it is these seeds that we will eventually harvest in the future. There is a famous saying in Buddhism, what you do for others, you do for yourself. This is not just a piece of advice. It is a deep truth that we can feel in every moment of life. When you act with kindness, sincerity, and compassion, you are creating a flow of positive energy, a gentle force that may one day return to bring you peace and happiness. On the other hand, when you act with malice, hatred, or greed, although you may not immediately feel the consequences, in time, the world will reflect back what you have sown. Karma is not a vengeance from some external force, but the reflection of your own actions. What you sow is what you will reap. This is a powerful and unchangeable law of nature. Example: imagine a person who lives in constant anger and resentment. Whenever they face difficulties, they lash out using harsh words, causing harm to others without considering the consequences. At first, They may feel relieved by venting their anger. However, over time, the people around them will begin to distance themselves. Relationships will deteriorate, and they will find themselves isolated. This is a fruit of their own actions, a chain of events leading to loneliness and suffering. Meanwhile, another person lives with compassion, patience, and empathy for others. Though they too face challenges, they always choose to respond with kindness, gentleness, and positive thoughts. They may not receive immediate rewards, but over time, they will find love, respect, and joy in their relationships. Just like a good seed sown in fertile soil, it will eventually sprout, bloom, and bear sweet fruit. In conclusion, the law of karma is not just an abstract concept, but a very real and present reality in our lives. Every day, we are planting our own seeds through our actions, words, and thoughts. Never think that the small things you do don't matter. Every action, no matter how small, and every word, no matter how gentle, is shaping your life. Letting go of attachment, inner freedom, in life. We are often swept away by things we want to hold on to, a relationship, a job, a feeling, or even an image of ourselves. We believe that by clinging tightly to these things, we will find happiness and peace. However, in reality, these attachments are often the greatest burdens, chaining us to relationships, desires, and expectations that, at times, we cannot control. Buddhism teaches that attachment is the root of suffering. While we cannot deny the importance of love and meaningful relationships in our lives, when attachment becomes fear, possessiveness, or control, we lose our inner freedom. Inner freedom does not come from controlling the world around us, but from the ability to let go of what no longer serves our growth and happiness. A real-life example. Imagine a woman who is deeply in love with a man. She loves him wholeheartedly and wants him to always be by her side. She places all her hopes in this relationship, unable to imagine life without him. But when he leaves, a breakup occurs. She feels like the world is collapsing and the pain of loss is unbearable. It's not the love that was lost, but the attachment to him, to the idea of a future she had built in her mind. If she learned to let go, she would realize that this relationship, though beautiful, is just a part of her life journey. And in letting go, she would find the strength to live a fuller life, not from possession, but from free love. Letting go does not mean giving up. It does not mean ceasing to love, care, or disconnect from the world. Letting go is realizing that happiness does not depend on holding everything tight, but on the ability to love freely without possession. It's loving without control, being present without demanding permanence. Try a small exercise. On any given day, look at the things you're clinging to, the things you fear losing. Relax and tell yourself, if this leaves me, I can still find happiness. I can still love without fear of loss. Feel the freedom in this. Feel the peace in your heart when you no longer have to force yourself to hold on. When you let go of attachment, you lose nothing. You gain freedom. Freedom to love without fear of losing. Freedom to live each moment fully without anxiety about the future. This is inner freedom. And this is what Buddhism invites each of us to discover. Acceptance and freedom, the flow of life. Accepting life as it is not an easy task. In fact, facing reality can sometimes be a great challenge, especially when things don't go the way we hope. But in this world, nothing is permanent. Everything changes. And if we don't learn how to accept these changes, we will forever be at war with ourselves. Acceptance does not mean giving up. It is not about looking at failure, loss, or unwanted events and sighing in resignation. Acceptance is an act of strength. It is a recognition that life may not be perfect, but within that imperfection lies beauty and valuable lessons that we can learn. Acceptance is a journey, a process of learning to let go of unrealistic expectations and ideals, to live authentically with oneself and the world around us. The story of the farmer and his horse illustrates this lesson clearly. One day, the farmer's horse ran away, and the neighbors came to console him, saying that it was a great misfortune. But the farmer simply said, "Who knows whether this is good or bad?" A few days later, the horse returned, bringing several wild horses with it. The neighbor celebrated his good fortune, but the farmer responded again, "Who knows whether this is good or bad?" Soon after, the farmer's son tried to tame one of the wild horses and fell, breaking his leg. Once again, the neighbors lamented, but the farmer said, "Who knows whether this is good or bad?" Later, the army came to the village to recruit young men for war, but left the farmer's son behind because of his injury. What seemed like a misfortune turned out to be a blessing, and what appeared to be good might have been bad. Acceptance is not submission. It is a strength when we realize that, despite the challenges, we can find joy in the small things. Life may not always be as we desire, but it is in those constant changes that we find materials for our growth. Learning to accept is not about surrendering, but about winning over our expectations and rigid thoughts. Acceptance is freedom. When we stop fighting reality, we discover an open space where we can live more fully. Accepting what is not perfect in life is the key to living in peace, not worrying about what we cannot control. Just like the flowing stream, we cannot fight the current of life, but we can learn to flow with it gently and freely. Real life example. Think about the changes in your life, whether it's a job, a relationship, or even your health. Every time something ends, we often feel pain and loss. However, when we look back after a while, we often realize that those very changes led us to a new stage, a new opportunity, and even a part of our personal growth that we could not have achieved without going through those ups and downs. Stories of moving homes, losing jobs, or changes in personal life are often the start of new journeys that bring opportunities we never imagined. By Hakan Jiao Trong Engich Ken, Tim Y Nia Trong Dao Ko, Kuok Song Kong Phi Luke Now Kung Da Dong, Doi Kai, Chung Ta Phi Doi Mat Voy and Hung Thursday Thatch, and Hung Kong Balam Ma Duong Nu Kong Ko Loi Thot, and Hung Ko and Kakai, Kai Da Kem Thay Nu Moi Thursday Sup Du Sung Quan Min, La Luke Ta Da Roy Veo Kem Jiak Tuet Vong, Tu Hoi Tai Saw, and Hung Juzal Luan Zay Den Voy Min, Tai Nien, Nu Chung Ta Nin and Sao Sakhan, Essin and R.A. Rang Chin Trong and Hung Ko Kan Nai Lai Chua Dung, and Hung by Hak Vio Jia, and Hung Ko Hoi De Trong Tama Chung Ta Kong the Ko Duak Nu Kong Tre Qua Thursday Thatch, Dao Ko, Devi La Ko Thursday, Lai Ko the La Nu With A Tuet Voy, Jup Tahuaro Han Vi Chin Min, Va Vi the Gioi Sung Quan, Fat Jiao De Rang, Moi Thursday Du Ko Y Du, Nai Sie Kai Chung Ta Kong Hu Duak Tai Salmon Lai Phi Tre Qua No I Down Nai. Ko the by Hak Ma Chung Ta Hak Duak Chin La Kan Nong Doi Dine Voy and Hung Thursday Thatchimoti Catch Ben Then, Kong So High, Kong On John, Du La Ka Nong Chapman Dao Ko Nu Moti Fan Kwa Kuok Song, Va Hak Catch Vuan Len Mami Han Tu and Hung Vet Thuong. Mot 6 Du Dying Hin La Ka Chien V Mot Nu Doi, Nong Dan Jioko Mot Kan Engwa. Mot Gay. Kanengwa Bo Tron Ba Moi Nu Oi Sung Quan De Den Chia Bon Voyong, Cho Rang Du Lai Moti Tai Holan, Tai Nien, Nu Goi Nong Dan Chia No I Moti Ka, AI Beat Duak De Lata Haza, Vai Gay Sao, Kanengwa Kwe Lai, Mang Theo Nu Kanengwa Hong, Moi Nu Oi Lai Den Chuk Mung, Cho Rang On De Gap May Man, and Hung Nu Janong Dan Van Traloy, AI Beat Duak De Lata Haza, Sao Du, Kan Treong Ko Gang Fon Hoa Mot Trong, and Hung Kan Engwa Hong Va by Nage Chan, Muan Nui Lai Tik Thuong Cho Ong, and Hung Nudes Nong Dan Kong Te Doi Ka No I Kwam Min, AI Beat Duak De La Ta Haza, Vai Tuan Sao, Quan Doi Den Long De Tuen Quan, and Hung Vi Kan Tre On by Gay Chan and Kong De Tam Jia Chien Tran, Deny De Q Song On Ta. Kuok Doi Kwa Chung Ta Kung Jong Nuve, Chung Ta Kong Aninte Nai Lap Tuc Wai Nia Kwam Wa Su Kien, and Hung Theo Doi John, Chung Ta Sin and R.A. Rang Wa Engich can do Ko Ly Du Kwa No, Va Ko the No Dang Chuan by Cho Chung Ta Moti Ko Hoi Ta Han Trong Tuong Lai, Vei Nan, Davin and Veo Ko Kan Nua Moti Gen Nong, Hey Thursday Nin No Nua Moti Ko Hoi De Thay Doi, Catch Chung Ta Nin in Kuok Song, Moi Dao Ko, Moi Thursday Thatch Dulai Moti by Hakui Jia, and Moti Kohoi de Chung Tatruong Tam Vahon Tien Ban Then. Hidden lessons in adversity. Finding meaning in suffering. Life is never just a smooth journey. We've all faced moments of pain, hardship, and even misery. But it's often in these moments that we fail to recognize that each adversity, each challenge, and each pain carries with it a lesson, a wake-up call that we need to learn. This is one of the most profound messages that Buddhism teaches about growth and the process of self-realization. We often feel defeated by life. We feel it's unfair when faced with difficulties. But if we can change our perspective, and instead of focusing solely on the pain, look at the value the challenge brings, we will see that nothing is meaningless. Facing suffering is not to make us give up, but to make us grow stronger, more resilient, and understand ourselves on a deeper level. The story of the butterfly is an excellent example to help us understand this. A farmer, during a walk in the garden, noticed a butterfly struggling to emerge from its cocoon. Moved by its effort, he decided to help by opening the cocoon. However, after the butterfly came out, it couldn't fly. The cocoon, though it seemed like an obstacle, was necessary for the butterfly's wings to fully develop, giving it the strength to fly. Had the farmer not intervened, the butterfly would have developed naturally and been ready for its journey into the world. Life is much like this. The hardships and challenges we face are not pointless. Yes, they hurt, but it's through these wounds that we learn to rise up stronger. Sometimes, the key is not in trying to avoid suffering, but in learning from it and growing through it. Another example from daily life is the story of a single mother who has faced countless struggles in life, from financial concerns to raising her children on her own. Every day is a challenge, but instead of complaining, she draws strength from her care and unconditional love for her children. Though life is far from easy, she understands that the difficulties she faces are not a punishment, but an opportunity to develop patience, resilience, and unconditional love. From these hardships, she has built a strength not only for herself, but also for her children, teaching them the value of perseverance and love in life. In every adversity, there is always a lesson to be learned, even if it's a small one. The important thing is whether we have the patience and wisdom to recognize and learn from it. Suffering is not a punishment or something without meaning. It's an essential part of the process of becoming who we are meant to be. It is an opportunity to look within and realize that we ourselves are the ones who create the power to overcome any challenge, not the pain or the circumstances. Mindfulness, living fully in every moment. Mindfulness is a concept that is not new, yet few people truly understand and apply it deeply in their lives. We often get caught up in the worries of the past or the expectations of the future, forgetting that the present moment is the only thing we can truly grasp. Life exists only in this very moment. So why don't we live fully in each one? A simple example is when you're having a meal. Instead of just eating to finish, thinking about work, family, or unfinished issues, you can fully dedicate your attention to each bite. Savor the flavor of the food, the sensation as it melts in your mouth, the aroma, and the warmth of the dish. When you do this, you're not just eating, but truly living in that moment. You'll feel as if you were surrender yourself to a peaceful, natural space, free from worry or distractions. This is the power of mindfulness, living fully in each moment, even the smallest ones. Mindfulness isn't just a state of awareness when we meditate. It's a way of life. When you learn to live fully in every moment, you will notice your mind becoming clearer, no longer disturbed by worries, sadness, or any other negative emotions. You start to see life with a new perspective, a clear and peaceful one. You have likely experienced moments where you felt lost in what you were doing. Those are the moments when your mind has wandered and you were not fully present. In contrast, when you truly focus on the task at hand, you begin to feel peace and happiness from the simplest things. For instance, when you walk, instead of rushing, pay attention to each step. Feel your feet touching the ground. Listen to the sound of your footsteps and take in the surrounding atmosphere. Every step becomes a precious moment of life. Modern life, with all its work and responsibilities, often makes it easy to forget to be present in the moment. But it is precisely in these moments that we find strength, tranquility, and true joy. Mindfulness serves as a reminder that peace is not to be found in distant places, but in the actions we do, in every breath we take, in every movement of our body. It is the key to living a meaningful life. Mind transformation, from suffering to enlightenment. The human mind is like fertile soil where every thought and emotion is planted. From it, the weeds of suffering, sorrow, and unease often grow, taking over our inner space. But Buddhism teaches that not all suffering is bad. It is a part of life, and sometimes in the darkest moments, we find a light that guides us toward enlightenment. Mind transformation is not about avoiding pain or trying to make it disappear. On the contrary, it is about understanding and accepting the pain, and from there, finding peace. When we face suffering, instead of letting it consume us, we can observe it quietly, without judgment. This is the enlightenment that Buddhism teaches. Suffering is only a state, not the essence of life. An example of this mind transformation through suffering is the story of a woman named Mai, who lost her beloved mother after prolonged illness. In the days following the loss, Mai sank into deep grief, feeling as though life had lost its meaning. But rather than continuing to drown in her sorrow, Mai decided to seek guidance from Buddhist teachings on mindfulness and letting go. She began learning to face her painful emotions without running from them. Every time pain arose, she reminded herself, this feeling will come and go. As the days passed, she realized that sorrow was not an enemy, but simply a part of the process of life. Mai started to find peace in accepting death. And from that, she also learned to live more fully, cherishing the present moments. She no longer allowed the pain of the past to haunt her. Instead, she found within it a powerful energy to live better. This transformation did not happen overnight, and at times, her mind still had moments of weakness. But the important thing was that she learned not to let suffering control her life, but instead, she could see it as a teacher guiding her toward maturity and deeper self-awareness. As one monk once said, suffering is a companion on the path to enlightenment. Mind transformation is a journey of self-awareness, the courage to face pain and the patience to learn from challenges. No one can escape suffering, but each of us has the power to choose how we face it. And when we change the way we perceive pain, we will no longer feel like victims of life, but like students growing with each step we take. Life, with all its ups and downs, its unexpected twists, can sometimes make us feel small, adrift in an endless flow. The lessons from Buddhist wisdom that we have just explored together are not merely theoretical. They are vibrant guidelines, small lanterns lighting the way for each of us. By realizing impermanence, we learn to accept that all good things will change and all suffering will eventually pass. Through understanding the law of karma, we stop blaming fate and instead sow each action and thought with mindfulness and compassion. By practicing non-attachment, we expand our inner freedom, no longer imprisoned by fear of loss or endless desires. And with mindfulness, we learn to be fully present in each moment, discovering the peace that has always been within our hearts. You cannot control the flow of life, but you can master how you swim through its currents. You cannot stop the winds, but you can adjust your sails. Ultimately, the deepest message Buddhist wisdom offers is this: you have the power to transform your life experience by how you perceive and embrace it. Every moment you choose awareness, you are reshaping your karma, planting seeds of goodness for yourself and for the world. Start today, not with grand gestures or radical changes, but with something simple. Spend just 3 minutes each day practicing a small mindfulness exercise. Sit quietly, feeling each breath as it comes in and out. Simply be present without judgment. When your mind wanders, gently bring it back to your breath. These seemingly small 3-minute moments will, over time, nurture the fertile soil of your soul, and one day, you will marvel at the strength, tranquility, and happiness you have cultivated. You deserve to live a life of ease, of love, a life where each passing day becomes a soft song of awakening. And you are not alone on this journey. Let the quiet Bodhi channel accompany you. If you find value in what we shared today, please subscribe and turn on the notification bell so we can continue exploring, learning, and growing together through each video, each small story. Thank you for listening with all your heart. May you always walk the path of awakening with serenity and deep faith in yourself. Namo Shakyamuni Buddha.